8 apps that change the world. Hey guys, Culture here. Today we're going to talk about 8 apps that change the world. More specifically, we'll look at the obstacles these apps overcame and how these apps have shaped our modern life. So many conveniences lie at our fingertips now that we take for granted. Apps have become essential for simplifying menial tasks, innovating how we communicate with other people, and enhancing our entertainment experience. The apps on this list have pioneered or perfected these changes, ingraining themselves in our day-to-day lives. Number 1. The Amino apps by Navi Incorporated, who are amazing enough to sponsor today's video, are a mobile network of communities which cater to almost every interest on the planet. Whether you're interested in video games, creative arts, or even role-playing, Amino has you covered. If you've seen some of our previous collaborations with the Amino apps, you'll know that some of our favorite communities include Arts and OC's Amino, the Animation Squad, and, of course, the CultureCrash Amino. It still blows our mind to think that there's a community out there solely dedicated to our little YouTube channel. It's awesome to see short-term fans interacting with long-term fans, having inside jokes explained and theorizing about specific character traits they believe could be true, like Crash's sexuality. I think it's safe to say though that our all-time favorite aspect of these groups is the fan art that everyone posts. It's incredible stuff. Not only can you engage with others via fan art posts, but there are also chat rooms, polls to vote on, quizzes to take, and you can always check out what's happening in real time via the community's live layer. The Amino apps have allowed fan bases and niche groups to speak openly about their interests, creating a safe space for expressing one's inner passions. In addition, Amino is turning fans of existing media into creators of new media by generating friendships that turn into collaborations. The Amino apps are one of the best places to create friendships and stay connected with like-minded individuals. And because of this, we'd love it if you guys could add us there and join our community. All details are on screen and can be found in the description below. We want everyone at Amino to know just how great the Culture Crash fanbase is, so we're setting a new challenge. Head on over to the Animation Squad Amino and share your Culture Crash fan art there to paint Amino orange. Every user who posts original fan art will enter the draw to win a Culture Crash t-shirt. The winner will be announced in a post on the Culture Crash Amino and contacted directly via the app as well. Get doodling, boys and girls. You know what I mean. Now, let's discuss some apps from a more analytical standpoint. Number 2. Uber, founded in 2009 by Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp, allows users to call a ride to their current location at a much cheaper price than conventional taxis. There are other ride-sharing apps out there like Lyft and Taxify, but in the Western world, Uber dominates the market. So why is Uber such a game changer? Essentially, Uber is one of the first companies to successfully implement a peer-to-peer service utilizing new smartphone technology. Peer-to-peer services mean that the customer and the supplier complete their transaction without a third party in between. In Uber's case, that means that the passenger connects with the driver without a taxi company needing to facilitate the transaction. This massively cuts down on the operating costs and infrastructure requirements of the business by utilizing people's private possessions instead of company property. Once again, in the case of Uber, Uber doesn't actually own any cars or garages. Instead, drivers use their personal cars. This business model spread like wildfire once other companies and entrepreneurs were able to adapt Uber's ideas to their own markets. Uber innovated ride-sharing and, in the same way, Airbnb innovated accommodation and Instacart innovated grocery shopping. Now there are food delivery apps popping up like crazy, not least of which is Uber Eats. That's another thing. Uber doesn't rest on its laurels. It's constantly reinvesting its profits into new research so they can keep innovating. In fact, by 2020, Uber hopes to have vertical takeoff and landing, or VTOL vehicles, which will allow passengers to fly above the traffic and drastically cut commute times. It's ambitious, some people say crazy, but this is the kind of thinking that revolutionizes our world, and all thanks to an app used primarily by intoxicated 20-somethings at 3 in the morning. Number 3. Duolingo is a freemium language learning app launched in 2011 by Louis von Ahn and Severin Hacker. In case you don't know, freemium means that the app can be used completely for free, but certain perks come with paying a subscription fee. In Duolingo's case, this means you can learn a new language without paying a cent, as long as you don't mind watching some ads. This incredible free education thinking is what makes Duolingo so revolutionary. In a world where people can work well into their 30s before paying off their student debt, we need more generous, high-quality learning tools like this. One of the men behind the app, Louis von Ahn, was born in Guatemala, where he learnt that to get a good job often required a proficiency in English not taught at most schools. Duolingo provides people from developing countries with a viable, cost-effective option for learning English. Apart from the wholesome motivation behind the app, Duolingo also represents another emerging trend in programs: gamified learning. Gamified learning involves using game elements to keep students engaged with the content at hand and mold the often repetitive nature of study into a fun exercise. In the case of Duolingo, this is achieved with a leveling up system that tracks the user's progress and achievements that mark the completion of special objectives. You can even spend the app's in-game currency, lingots, to unlock customizations. Other apps, like Musician, use the same teaching philosophy for other subjects, like music. Number 4. Spotify is a music streaming service launched by Daniel Ek and Martin Lorentzen in 2008. Using a freemium model similar to Duolingo, users can listen to a huge number of artists for free, as long as they don't mind ads popping up in between songs. Unlike Duolingo, however, not everyone is happy about this arrangement. The ease of access to music provided by Spotify has detracted from digital and physical sales of the artist's music, with artists such as Taylor Swift and Tom York claiming that Spotify doesn't fairly compensate musicians for this change. Spotify has a rather different take on this story, however. They claim that their service is simply discouraging people from piracy by providing them with a legal alternative which still benefits independent artists. According to Spotify, quote, "A Spotify premium user delivers more than 2 times the amount of revenue to the industry per year as the average US music consumer currently does." Hence, Spotify's plan is to move people away from piracy and then eventually towards an alternative that actually grows the music industry. This economic gobbledygook is nice and all, but the bottom line is that consumers can get music for free or at a much cheaper cost than they used to. The number of streams an artist receives has also become a vital measure for a band's popularity, changing the Billboard landscape. Number 5. Tinder is a social search app launched by Hatch Labs in 2012, mainly used as a hookup app. I say mainly because thanks to this seemingly shallow piece of technology, many users have actually found their lifelong partners. Of course, people use Tinder for a bit of fun, but research shows the app has drastically altered the composition of couples since its introduction. For one, interracial couples are much more prominent now than ever before. This is because people from completely distinct social groups that normally would have never interacted are now being brought together by casual meetups. Research by Philip Hergovich from the University of Vienna shows that the revolution of online dating in 1995, with sites like Match.com, dramatically increased the number of interracial marriages. This number spiked again in 2012 with the introduction of new dating apps, like Tinder. Same-sex couples have also been helped enormously by dating sites and apps. In fact, almost 70% of same-sex couples meet through online dating. Apps like Tinder and Grindr provide a safe niche for same-sex couples to interact and share their unique experiences. This is especially true in countries where same-sex relationships are still illegal. Online dating was a refuge for those rejected by their society. In short, Tinder is fighting against societal pressures and expectations to bring people together. The introduction of Tinder Social hopes to do the same thing with friendships, getting whole groups to broaden their horizons and expand their friendship network. Number 6. Ushahidi is a crowdsourcing social activism and event mapping system created by Eric Hersman, Ori Okolo, Juliana Rotic, and David Kobia in 2008. Compared to the other entries on this list, Ushahidi might not be as well known in the Western world. However, it's been of paramount importance for disaster relief and public safety in many incidents since 2008. Kenya's 2008 presidential election, the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, the 2012 tsunami in Japan, and countless other natural disasters and political movements have all been tracked by Ushahidi's software. So what does Ushahidi actually do? Users are able to create posts detailing events happening near them and post them to Ushahidi with a tag detailing the time and place of the event. With multiple users all submitting their reports, Ushahidi generates a timeline and map of events, which others can also access. This means if there's a conflict, you can open up Ushahidi and see what streets or areas are dangerous and should therefore be avoided. Safety crews can use the information to provide aid to the places most in need and rescue victims. People's smartphones become eyes and ears for the community, giving the most realistic picture of an event from multiple viewpoints. Ushahidi has truly reshaped the way that governments cope with emergencies. Number 7. Snapchat is an auto-deleting messaging app created by Evan Spiegel, Bobby Murphy, and Reggie Brown in 2011. The auto-deleting nature of Snapchat is what separates the app from its competitors. Whilst Facebook and Twitter serve as permanent databanks for all your PMs, Snapchat stands in opposition to this philosophy by comforting you with a short-lived and discreet messaging alternative. In fact, it is this discretion, this secret message between friends mentality, that has crafted a deeply personal interaction between Snapchat and its users. And all of that means that ad agencies just had to go and ruin it all by invading our one refuge of privacy with highly targeted and specifically crafted marketing material. The Sour Patch Kids Snapchat campaign partnered with everyone's favorite Vine star Logan Paul to reach their audience, whilst the X-Men Apocalypse campaign introduced an X-Men themed filter and accompanying links to buy tickets for the movie. By introducing products and services into such a private place, these corporations situate themselves as another friend in our Snapchat stories. Of course, the more talked about Snapchat effect would have to be selfies, and how these selfies have changed youth culture. But whereas sites like Facebook and Instagram constantly warn against posting sensitive material, Snapchat's auto-deleting nature seems to tempt users towards taboo behavior. Couple Tinder's wide reach with Snapchat's seemingly secure messaging system, and you create a funnel that quickly guides complete strangers from matching to chatting, swapping Snapchat IDs, and sending nudes very rapidly. But on the other hand, some users simply use Snapchat to exchange silly messages and photos with ridiculous filters, or videos to capture the spontaneity of the moment. Perhaps it's accurate to say that, like most tools, Snapchat is only as good as the people using it. Number 8. Angry Birds is a mobile game created by Rovio Entertainment in 2009. For anyone who's been living under a rock for the past 9 years, the game involves flinging round birds at castles built by equally round green pigs. Bring down all the pigs, progress to the next stage. This simple gameplay makes Angry Birds accessible and easy to open up when you've got a few minutes to spare waiting for the bus. Angry Birds was one of the first mobile games to strike it big, followed quickly by freemium games like Candy Crush and pay-to-win classics like Clash of Clans. Thanks to games like these, the mobile games industry is booming, and console game companies have taken notice, with Sony and Nintendo taking their own shot at cashing in on the medium. But Angry Birds isn't just a mobile game. The Angry Birds franchise comprises around 20 games, associated merch, 4 animated series, a feature film, and even a theme park. Oh, and a cookbook. Couldn't forget that. Angry Birds is emblematic of the mainstream appeal a mobile game can have, working its design into every nook and cranny of the market to maximize its profitability. Actually, maybe that's too cynical. The creators of these apps are innovators, entrepreneurs, and ultimately problem solvers. Thanks to them, we have simplified means of communication, new forms of entertainment, and conveniences that have radically changed our way of life. I believe, for the better. See you all next week. If you enjoy what we do here at Culture Crash, please consider supporting the show via our Patreon, where we have a bunch of awesome rewards, or by checking out our online store. All links are in the description below.